guys, welcome to today's Big Brother 18 updates and spoilers. Our house guest of the day is Dennis with an exclamation point. Thank you so much for your support. I hope you're enjoying the season so far and having a great day. And if you guys want to be house guest of the day, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. And make sure you send me a message on Patreon if you have a question that you want me to answer on the spoiler. Alright, so Frank, Jose, and Paul were chatting outside yesterday, and it's almost getting to a point where it's sad how oblivious Jose and his crew are. I mean, it's just like really sad. Like, we've seen Bronte and Natalie kind of thinking like, oh, I don't know if this is gonna work out for us. Like, there's gotta be something else going on here. But Jose and Paul and Victor are all like, they're oblivious. So Paul is like, yeah, I was talking to Paulie, and he's pretty much accepted defeat. Like, he knows he's going home. And he's saying that there would have to be some huge scheme, which none of them have heard about, for Jose to go home. And Frank is sitting there like, nah, like, there's no way that could happen. This house is too small for that. Like, that information will get out, and you would hear about it. Oh, no. So then Paul brings up the roadkill competition from this week, and he's like, I still don't know who put me up on the block. He's like, that person must not have told anybody because it still hasn't gotten out yet. And he's like, yeah, it could be Frank for all we know. And Frank is just like, yeah. Meanwhile, we've got Tiffany and Paulie strategizing in the safari room, and finally these two sibs decide that they're going to work together. They're going to look out for each other. So then Tiffany suggests, like, making a deal with Natalie and Paul so that they'll be good with their side and the other side. So it's not like an official alliance, but they want to make some sort of deal with them, like a, if you get HOH, don't put us up, and we'll do the same kind of thing. So she's thinking they're going to be pretty easy to scoop up once Jose, Victor, and Bronte are gone, because those are the 8-packs and Paulie's immediate targets, because Paulie is not really in the 8-pack. And that sounds great and all, but Paulie is nervous that Paul would spill the beans because he's got a huge mouth, and I have to agree with that. I definitely do not see that staying a secret, but I could see Tiffany and Paulie breaking off and working with, like, Natalie and Paul if the rest of their alliance were to go, because I feel like Tiffany's going to realize she's at the bottom of the totem pole, and she's got to make things happen, so I think that could be a viable option for her. But there was more drama in the 8-pack yesterday, and of course Tiffany was involved. So Day and Tiffany were chatting in the London room, and Day warns Tiffany, James is getting pretty nervous about you because he sees you talking to the other side and he doesn't know what's going on there. And Tiffany's like, wait, what? That makes no sense to me. He's the one that's always talking to Natalie and Bronte. Like, what's that all about? So she's like, James is friggin' projecting all over me. So then she's like, he must also be nervous because I feel him, like, looking at me sometimes, and he makes this face like he thinks that I'm Vanessa. I could see that, but she's like, I'm gonna talk to him and we'll figure things out, so we'll come back to that. But first, there was like a freaking confusion alert in the house yesterday because these black shoes appeared in the storage room. They are stored in the appearance room. They appeared in the storage room, but they were only for Team Unicorn, so that's James's team. What's that all about? What? So we still don't really know what that was. What it was. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe, like, did the rest of the house guests get those shoes for the competitions that Team Unicorn did not participate in last week? Or what was the deal with that? Maybe they're just getting them now? I don't know. But it caused a lot of confusion in the house. So Tiffany goes and talks to James, and she's like, we need to hash this out because I don't want things to be weird. And James is like, yeah, I don't want this to, like, blow up. So she's like, I wanted to work with you since the beginning, but then I hear this stuff, like, what's going on? So they talk about this idea that was kind of floating around the 8-pack alliance of someone like James or Frank throwing in a hinky vote to kind of cover their butts with the other side, and so that the 8-pack alliance would not be exposed. But James is like, no, like, we're not going to do that. The sides are pretty much already cut and dry. I don't need to hide behind a vote like that. So they're like, okay, that's cool. So then Tiffany is like, well, I just want to tell you, like, I'm not Vanessa. I see you looking at me sometimes, and there's just, like, this look on your face, like you think I'm Vanessa. And James just like, he admits, like, yeah, they have a lot of similarities, visually, audibly, and, like, their mannerisms are very similar, too. So he does get some Vanessa flashbacks, and she's like, well, I'm not Vanessa, so, like, relax. But they pretty much clear up the weirdness, it seems like. However, the other vets are still really paranoid about Tiffany. So Frank and Day were talking about how they don't want to babysit Tiffany. They feel like she's going to cause a lot of problems for them. They think she's an emotional player, and she can't handle, like, other people talking crap about her and stuff. So, again, they say that they want her to be the first to go from the 8-pack alliance. Ugh. All right. So, they're still saying, though, that they want to take out the other side first. We'll see what happens. So, yesterday, this is great. Zakiya choreographed this dance for her and Nicole. They practiced it for a while, and then they performed it for everyone. Tiffany was dropping the beat for them, and it was hilarious. Oh my god, it was so funny. It's definitely flashback worthy if you guys want to check it out. So then a little while later, Big Brother gave them alcohol again. What? They've gotten it so many times this week. It's crazy. I guess the producers were like, y'all are boring without it, so let's get this poppin'. So they play a not very exciting game of Never Have I Ever. Great. But then things really start to get crazy. So first of all, Nicole and Frank are chatting in the storage room, and Nicole is like, I would never take James to the final 2. Like, I would not want to be up against him. No way. But I'd love to sit there with you, Frank. And Frank is just like, wait, what? You know, Frank is thinking in his head, like, there's no way you're going to beat me. That's the impression that I got from his reaction, because he was just like, wait, what? What are you talking about? But eventually, they make this final 2 deal. I'm pretty sure they were both a little tipsy at the time. I don't know if I actually see them following through on this, but they're both like, yeah, I'll take you to the final 2. And I'm just like, for real, though? Would you? So then after that, this is where things get really crazy. There was some drama in the all-newbie alliance. So things pretty much started out with Natalie and Victor. She does not like the way he's been talking to her. Apparently, before the feed started, there was like this Natalie and Victor showmance blossoming. And they were like all cuddly and stuff. And then Victor was like, no, I'm not doing this. So Natalie was really hurt by that. So like there's already this awkwardness, this layer of awkwardness between Natalie and Victor. And now she is like getting fed up with him. So apparently he told her that she's been adding too much cheese to her food, and then like she was wearing these long pants, and they had like this significance to her because like her aunt gave them to her, and her aunt has since passed away. So when Victor saw the pants, he was like, ew, your pants are dirty, because I guess they were like dragging on the floor. You know that house is filthy. But she didn't like it. So word gets around the house. Jose tries to intervene, whatever, what have you. But it's not working. So eventually Victor pulls Natalie aside to apologize, and he's like, I want you to be around. I like you. I'm not trying to be malicious with my comments. Like, I didn't want your pants to get dirty. But I don't know. But he's saying, like, he's going to work on his delivery because that's not cool if he's upsetting her. So she's just like, yeah, like, I'm a really nice person and blah, blah, blah. I mean, Natalie is a really nice person. Whenever people are crap talking and she's there, she's just like, that's not very nice to say. So, like, I respect that about Natalie. And I think Victor needs to get his crap together. So then a little while later, the Spy Girls, Natalie, Bronte, and Bridget were talking about the whole Natalie-Victor thing with James in the London room. And Paul comes in, and they're just like, no, we're having girl talk, get out. So, and James was saying that too. He's like, we're trying to have girl talk right now. So Paul was freaking pissed. He stormed out to the backyard. Bronte followed him out there. and Jose and Victor were already out there, and there was a freaking shitstorm a-brewing. So, first of all, Paul did not like the whole getting turned away because it was girl time thing. He's pissed about that. Apparently it's happened before. So the guys are all like, we're sick and tired of this, like, feminist shit, like, cut it out with that crap, like, we're all on the same team, don't be leaving us out of stuff. And then they're like, James is trying to break us all apart, like, trying to turn us against each other. So then they're like going off on James, and Paul is like, I'm gonna beat the shit out of him, blah, blah, blah. And Bronte is like, yeah, well, I'm not doing it right now. Bronte's like, James is freaking in there talking to Natalie right now, saying that Victor asked Nicole on a date. What? I did not hear that. I don't remember that happening. If you guys do, let me know. Give me a timestamp so I got flashback, because, like, I don't remember that actually happening, but that's what Bronte said. So Victor's like, no, that never happened. They're trying to make this stuff up to break us apart. Oh, so then Paul is just going on and on about how he's going to mess James up. And Bronte, girl, you need to watch what you're saying. She's like, I'm going to send him back to Hong Kong. What? That is incredibly offensive. And she said it like twice last night, and then she said it again this morning. Like, what are you doing? Stop. Ugh. All right, so also this morning, this is ridiculous. Victor and Paul were complaining about all of James's pranks, and they were like bitching about it in the kitchen. Frank is in there, so he goes and reports to James, and James is just like, oh, really? I'm gonna go stir up some shit in the kitchen. So, I guess last night, James put a bunch of crackers and bread in Corey's bed, and Corey was like picking it up and throwing it on the floor in the bedroom and stuff, and it made a mess. But Victor and James were in the kitchen, and they had this little passive-aggressive exchange, and James was all like, you need to lighten up, bro. And Victor's like, stop doing that shit, bro. And James is like, lighten up, bro. And Victor's like, you need to stop doing that shit, bro. It just goes on and on. And eventually James is just like, do you not like having fun? Like, what's your problem? Like, do you not have any kid left inside of you? And Victor's like, yeah, I have fun all the time. And James is like, what do? Like, hopscotch, jump rope? And Victor's like, yeah, do that shit. It was just ridiculous and stupid. Stupid. So, this is really sad, but one last thing. Michelle has been feeling really insecure in her Pixels costume. She feels like she's put on a few pounds, and she was like crying and saying that she's the fattest girl in the house, and it was like so sad. But it's just ironic because she's like supposedly this fat shamer outside of the house, and like we've seen her Tumblr, so you know. But Frank was like comforting her, or Reddit or whatever it was. Frank was comforting her. And that was really nice. But I feel so bad for the people in the Pixels. I feel like they've been wearing that crap forever. And it's like, at least give them fresh underwear or something. It's gross. And they feel so naked. Like, I think the punishment should be over now. But tomorrow is the eviction. Hopefully they'll be wearing clothes by then. And I'm just geared up for one of the best blindsides of all time. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. And until tomorrow, much love.
Edit.